Yeah. So, you know, I feel like there's these two obstacles that are going on in terms of how do people learn to connect back with their body on a diet that's right for them at that time, right? The diet I needed before I had kids might be different from the diet I need now.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's my comment question.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I don't have a full answer to that, but I can speak from the Sister Vegan Project, which is basically, it's all interactive online, so we're all talking to each other. So I think what's helped is that there's this group of 450 women and allies, you know.
Use the mic, Breeze.
Oh, duh. I knew that. Okay, better. So I can answer you from my experience with the Sister Vegan Project. Okay. And I just want to remind people, just because I say it and I'm like going to get my PhD soon, doesn't mean it's the truth, okay? This is just my perspective and what I'm offering. So you can think critically about it. Take the pieces that work for you, the pieces that don't, whatever. Okay? So, Sister Vegan, there's 430 or 450 of us on an interactive community. So, you know, women talk about what you've brought up. You know, like I'm transitioning into veganism, and this is happening to my body, and all these things are going on. And it's the support, you know, when we're all answering and saying, you know, this is normal, this is, you know, it's okay that this happened, you know, that you're feeling this way, or what you're experiencing is your body's detoxing, and you don't just detox, you know, it's not like you're just feeling nauseous, but, you know, a lot of emotional stuff is going to come up. So I think having a community and having a support when you're actually, if you've chosen veganism or you've chosen another diet to kind of reclaim your health and not really understand what to expect, I think that's really important. At least that's what I've witnessed in the Sister Vegan community. Because there's so many people who come on, they think like, I'm the only one, or I don't know what's going on, this is what's happening. We all lay it out, we're pretty open. So that's how I can kind of answer your question or comment within that context. But I think it's just community and support. If you can find that. If you can find that with people, you know, when you've decided to transform or go through those changes, and you're kind of confused about what's happening. So that's just my opinion. So, okay, but thanks for the comment. Yes, Lisa?
Do you think it's more, and I know you can't answer generally, but do you think it's more off-putting or mind-opening from an activist perspective when you compare slavery to the oppression of non-human animals now?
Mm-hmm. I actually think it depends how you approach it. And it's a complex question. I mean, I can send you to the answer, because this professor at University of California, Davis, she wrote a response to why people of color were so irritated with PETA when they used images of black men being lynched and then images of animals that were used for cooking. Okay.
And that's so different.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were. How do I say it? It's complex, but it's not necessarily that it's the problem. So let me just try to quote from her. She was explaining, it's when you're a person or you're an organization, mostly white, post-racial, race-neutral organization that does not even acknowledge how whiteness and white privilege construct power in this country. Like, you're not acknowledging that in the contemporary sense. And at the same time, you're appropriating these particular experiences, populations who suffered from white privilege, white supremacy. That's what she starts talking, that's the problem. And kind of drawing from it in a way, well, this is racism. Racism was really bad. And now animals go through what black people went through. It's subtle, but the argument implies that racism is over. And now let's just focus on the animals, because they're going through what black people and brown people used to go through. And the problem is that racism is not over, white supremacy is not over, it's changed drastically. And there is not a critical race literacy for a post-Obama age to understand that. And when you have that in an organization like PETA, using these images and appropriating it, but at the same time, they're outreaching, their models are so enhanced in a white middle-class privileged perspective in relationship to food and animals, it's off-putting. And if you're inside that bubble, if you're part of the demographic, white middle-class demographic that doesn't even have that literacy, when you approach people of color with that campaign, the Animal Liberation Project that PETA have, and people of color are like, oh my God, turned off by it, it's not because people of color collectively don't feel for animals. They're just annoyed that that particular organization is not checking themselves on their own white privilege. It's very, 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 very complicated. But I can send you, like, this professor breaks it down in like a 30-page, and she's a vegan, black vegan. She's like, I'm a black vegan, so I'm not even saying this because I'm an omnivore and I like animals, I like to eat them. Like, this is the problem. So I think that makes her argument even more stronger because she's coming from the place of a black female vegan, but she's using critical race theory to really understand and explain. It's nuanced and it's subtle. Like, I think most black people collectively get it, but I think collectively white middle class America, who's animal rights activists, they didn't quite understand. They just kind of, it was an easy binary. Well, black people must just not like animals, and it's not that. So that's the quick answer to what you have to say, but if anyone's interested, I can email you that. Like, she breaks it down. I'm like, damn, like, yeah, it's just, she breaks it down. Her name is, gosh, I can't remember. It escapes me, but I'll send you the article. If anyone's interested, email breezeharper@gmail.com. I can email you that.
Yeah, thank you so much for what you're presenting and offering. And I was curious, through all your research, if you possibly step into a space where you can look at certain policies, maybe even that are coming down the pipe, or the possibilities of creating particular, political avenues to make it essentially easier. So some of the stuff you're talking about for the communities, farms off lots, etc. I'm just curious if you investigated that.
Well, not right now because of my
or
dissertation.
even if you think that's even a viable viable strategy even.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think I'm getting, maybe because I'm older, I don't know. I'm not really trusting that the government will ever really want to do anything, so I'm kind of in this mindset where, okay, I don't think they're ever going to do anything anytime soon. I don't know if policy, at least for me, is the right way. I do know my future work isn't necessarily going to focus on policy. You never know, right? You can't say what you'll do a year from now. I do know, this is why I'm here, I'm so interested in the use of hip-hop and the use of that language and what ETEF and people like him are doing. And it's working, That's what I'm interested in. So I'm not necessarily interested in focusing on policy yet. That's not even my background. But who knows, I'm sure there are ways to do that type of work and see positive results, but I can't necessarily say it would be faster to do it that way versus, the example of the hip-hop wellness and holistic healing movement is doing. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm sorry it's not a better answer.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I don't, are we running out of time or?
Yeah, I think we should transition.
Okay.
We have one more. I think there's one more question.
Is there?
Dr. Cobham.
Thank you so much for your talk. It's actually a comment that you need to give feedback on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There's this film called Cosmic Slop that came out on HBO back in the 90s. The reason why I don't believe the government could take an interest, particularly under the Obama administration, because of the investment of so many people that show up in the alcohol industry. You talk about under the influence, certainly food, cattle, the feed, $1 billion industry in each of those. So if you speak to the fact, how can we fight a system that is inherent, one, and two, billions of dollars? There are other people who have investments in it that feed their family, if you will, off of people not having access.
I wish I had the answer to that, and that's what I struggle with. And I don't have enough time to get into it, but I always refer to other works as people do answer those questions. Angela Davis, she has her talk that was video recorded at UC Davis and at Berkeley. She spoke 2 weeks later, and she talks about that. She's like, it's not like, don't just look at the 1% as if they're the bad guy. We're all implicated in it. And like you said, what happens, when I can't leave my job working for these terrible companies when that's what I have to support my family, like it gets messy and stuff. And I don't have the answer for that, and that's probably because I'm still decolonizing my own mind and I don't know how to think outside of that. Yeah. So like decolonization, it's not like one day you're completely decolonized. It's an ongoing process. Most of us will never be 100% decolonized. So I'm unable to answer that question. And it's such an important question, but I can't answer it, I don't know. But I think Angela Davis, she was onto something when she had said, I can't give you the talk because one speech was an hour and another one was 90 minutes. So if you listen to her, she kind of brings it all together, but also talks about how we're all implicated in it. And it's really messy. And how do you kind of break that down without hurting yourself, without destroying your family or community. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you, everybody.
embarrassing man in the picture.
To the side, 'cause I want to get your ring.
Oh, am I wearing Angela?
You are Angela wearing Angela.
Oh, no. And I have 4 copies of Sister Vegan if people are interested. I didn't bring more.
That's what I was gonna announce.
Yeah.
That they're actually 4
Yeah, just 4. I'm
4
sorry.
copies.
Amazon
outside.
will
If
let
you'd
you
like to buy a
order
copy,
more.
you'll sign
We go.
you'll sign it for.
How much are the copies?
I have Mrs. Carr's over there.
They'll be on Facebook.
Y'all make some noise for the interaction that's going on and how the evolution of the Brown Sugar Fest has come to have academic kind of conversation as well. I mean, and some of you who have not been to this event, you know, think that this is the first time this has happened. There is a history that is all of this that happens in this event that has always been about critical thinking and analysis and conversation interaction with the audience. And it has always been through the lens of hip hop culture. And so for there to be an actual, very much an academic conversation happening today is really fantastic. I'm really excited and really proud about that. And so I'm really glad that we can have all of the different ways that we are as people, individuals, and community come together, because sometimes it's you're the academic, you're the professor, and I'm not. And so therefore I can't even listen to you because I didn't go to college, or I can't understand because I don't have a PhD. I have a lot of friends with a lot of PhDs, and that's what they know. You know what I mean? And they don't know how to work a copy machine, you know what I mean? Or they don't know how to grow food. So I'm just saying all of the learning is necessary. All of the information that we share is necessary for us to live together on the planet.
Okay, but it stopped. And I had to turn it back. So it stopped. It said screen, like it said some screen, something.
Got it.
And then the blank.
So my son, Ita,
Doing the question.
and his partner, wife, Nayanda Ladan, have really come together with the community organizations to do something really beautiful today. So we are actually going to transition into screening a film, but if you would like to go down to Brother